So I asked 4 top-rated plus freelancers to share something they wish they knew when they started working in Upwork. Each of them has made more than $100,000 with a 100% job success score. I decided to make this video because I know landing your first jobs in Upwork is such a hard process, and I also know there are many super common mistakes we all have made when we started in Upwork. So sharing these experiences with you will definitely help you to speed up your learning process and will help you to succeed in Upwork much sooner. If this is the first time you're watching one of my videos, my name is Felipe, I'm a computer vision developer, and I make videos like this where I share my experience as a freelancer in Upwork. So let's start with Alex. He's a top-rated plus freelancer from Spain.
Before applying for a job post, look at the client reviews. The feedback could make you change your mind. Second point, always specify the requirements for the final deliverables. It is better to ask a dozen times than to redo all the work once, especially if it's a large or complex project. Clarify any details you do not clearly understand and do not be afraid to look stupid. On the contrary, most clients love to answer questions about their projects because they are usually pros in these fields. And the last one, as obvious as it may sound, but keep in touch with your customers. People like to know how their task is going. A brief message with an update on the task is enough, but it's very effective communication.
Alex mentioned looking at the client's reviews before accepting the job, and I could not agree more with that. It happens at first when you're just starting in Upwork that getting your first jobs is such a hard process that sometimes you don't really analyze all the client's feedbacks before accepting a job. Sometimes you are so happy when you receive an offer that you just take it, ignoring everything else. So I agree 100% with Alex. Although getting your first jobs in Upwork is hard, or it could be a very hard process, don't jump into any project without carefully reading the client's feedbacks. And the next top-rated plus freelancer sharing his experience is Julian. He's a project manager from the Czech Republic.
Hi there. So I'm Julian. I'm on Upwork since 10 years now, and the things that I wish I knew before I would be on Upwork and accepting contracts is to ask many questions. To give you an example, I had like this client, and it was for sales because we get plenty of sales opportunity on Upwork. And the guy wanted like me to sell some soaps in specific territories, which was France. You probably recognize my accent. I was extremely confident as usual, and I thought I would really make it happen. And so I asked just a couple of questions, and after I jumped directly in. And after I realized that the market about soap, I didn't know much about it, and I should have really dig more about it, because this market in France, it's really like soap should be made in France, like with French products, or imported, but everything would be made in France. The client was telling me after like the soaps were made in Turkey, so it was not made in France, so 99% of all resellers in France didn't want to hear about it. And all that could have been avoided if I would just ask a few questions before jumping in, because it's nice, like the client was really nice and all, but after the mission just became an impossible mission, because even if you had a great product, doesn't match up, it doesn't work, it doesn't compute. So just really be careful, like for any clients, for any, not only for sales, but for any any mission, any contract, just take a few hours, even if you have possibilities, or even sleep on it, ask question, dig, find out what is the situation, really to make sure you understand 100% what you are getting in, what you are really going for, and after you're gonna save yourself a lot of troubles. And and after everything will be much more better for everyone. The client will be happier, to really make sure you understand everything, and you too, because you will know what you're going to do. So enjoy, guys, and wish you good luck for everything.
Julian shared a very specific experience about how important it is to ask many questions before accepting a job. Alex also says something about how important it is to ask many questions, and now Julian illustrates what's the consequence of taking a job without asking enough questions.
So the mission just became an impossible mission.
Which is huge, because if you have taken a project and you realize you can't deliver, and not because you don't have the skills, but because it became an impossible mission, then what do you do? And having an experience like that when you are just starting in Upwork could completely damage your reputation in the platform. So you have to be super careful with that. I can completely relate with Julian. I had a very similar experience when I was just starting. Also, I remember when I was just starting Upwork, I thought I'm not going to ask too many questions because I'm an expert. All of these questions are things I should know already. But then I realized that it's exactly the other way around. The more questions you ask, the more expert you seem, the happier the client is going to be, and the most likely that project is to succeed. And the next one is Rafael. He's a professional Spanish-English translator from the US.
The hardest part of being a new freelancer is landing your first couple jobs. It is very discouraging when you apply 100 of times and you don't get selected. But one of the tricks is to be early. You'd be surprised about how many times a job gets filled within the first hour or so. Sometimes people just need to get something done quick. Also, it is important to be professional, but also be friendly. Making a connection with the client really goes a long way. And also, having a well-polished proposal is going to make a huge difference. Mentioning details like the name of the person posting the job and a couple details that show that you really read the posting are going to make a huge difference.
Rafael mentioned being early to jobs, and that's something I wish I knew too. I remember when I was just starting Upwork, and maybe for the first year or so, every time I was actively searching for jobs, I searched for new jobs once a day. That was like my routine. I searched for new jobs once a day, I applied for the jobs I thought they were interesting, and I kept doing the same process until I was hired for some of these jobs and I was no longer available to take new projects. And there was nothing wrong about that process because it worked, but I started realizing that there were many good jobs for which I was a very good fit, and they were already taken or they had received too many proposals for the time I found them. So I started applying for jobs more frequently, like several times a day, and I definitely noticed a difference. I started getting more and better jobs. So being early to a job and applying with a super personalized cover letter, trust me, it's going to give you very high chances of getting that job. And the next top rated plus freelancer sharing what he wished he knew when he started in Upwork is me. I can say I definitely agree with Alex, Julian and Rafael and everything they said about everything they wish they knew. I can say that in everything they mentioned it's something I wish I knew too. But when I was preparing this video, I really asked myself, what's the most important thing I wish I knew when I started in Upwork? And I came up with this. My freelance career is not the same as Upwork. I think it's good approaching Upwork as only one of the many ways you get clients and as only one of your many revenue streams. In my case, when I just started in Upwork and for a very long time, I was 100% focused on Upwork only. I didn't use any other freelance marketplace, I didn't build any other source of income, any other revenue stream. I was 100% focused and obsessed with Upwork only. But now, after a few years of using the platform, I definitely think it's healthier and a better strategy to diversify my income and to not rely 100% on Upwork only. Because trust me, if your goal is to make money, it's going to be way more profitable in the long term to have other sources of income, other revenue streams, and to not rely 100% in Upwork only. If you're just starting in Upwork, please let me know in the comments below what do you think about all the tips we share in this video. And if you're a more experienced freelancer, please let me know what you wish you knew when you started in Upwork. That's going to be all for today. If you like this video, remember to like and subscribe, and see you on the next video.